Wait! Before you skip ahead and continue, check the timestamps, playlists for other floor sets, check my merch store for Deep Dungeon apparel. Cue the intro. Hello, I am Angelus Demonus, with an updated Dawntrail live tutorial guide for Palace of the Dead solo on Machinist, if your goal is to get the Necromancer title. This live tutorial guide will cover floors 171 to 180. While the big concern on this floor set is 180 Behemoth, we will deep dive into every enemy on this set, showcasing their aggro types and what to look out for. We'll also be showcasing things like defeating Sasquatches and Anzus without steel. I will have two different strategies for 180 Behemoth on this guide. The tutorial run will have what we call the healing strat, where I will use second wind and max, super, or hyper potion to survive a second meteor if needed. Then I will include the tincture strat, which involves using a tincture of dexterity of any variety for extra damage instead of a healing potion. Both strategies are very viable, and you'll be able to see which one you will prefer. What I hope to showcase to you guys is that, although floor 180 Behemoth is still intimidating in Dawntrail, you don't have to be as precise as I have presented in the past to get the win. There will be a lot of deep dungeon tips scattered throughout the set, so be sure to check out the timestamps in the description below for anything specific. If you are looking for the other floor sets, be sure to check the playlist on the upper right card or in the description below. A difference between this guide and the previous ones I have done in Endwalker and Shadowbringers is that I have limited live chat interactions and kept the focus strictly on the deep dungeon content. This will play almost like a deep dungeon podcast with gameplay and a couple of viewer questions sprinkled in. I have learned from viewers of previous guides that they like to play along with the video up on another screen or monitor while they do their own run, and it's almost like I'm talking you through the run in real time. If you have any questions on anything that goes on with this run, things I may not have covered, or if you are confused on anything, be sure to leave them in the comments below and I will try to respond as soon as I can. My goal with these guides is to make the grueling challenge of the Necromancer title approachable and viable to all skill levels. No single question is silly, and every single experience is unique. Be sure to keep me posted on how your runs are going. Good luck, have fun, and I hope this guide helps you. 171! Also, if you don't know, it is a GDQ set. We were on AGDQ 2023 for this set on Machinist. One of the coolest things I've ever done in gaming. This is the set that's huge because it is Behemoth. You're looking at Behemoth. Everyone, if you look at any guide, any people you ask about maybe getting for Necromancer, Behemoth is usually the buzzword of that run, getting through Behemoth. Hopefully we'll try to explain as much of that fight as possible, try to make it as straightforward as possible for you guys to go for. One thing I may recommend that you can try to do is try to go to a striking dummy and try to practice just the basic rotation on the striking dummy. Now granted, it's going to be a little bit difficult because, you know, we're at like a level 100 now for Dawntrail, but basically what you're looking at is timing a reassemble drill, timing your turret to go down, and then doing a wildfire burst. That's it. We're going to actually do something that's a little bit not what I would typically do on my own attempts, but we'll try to keep it very straightforward in terms of trying to do the actual thingy of the damage thing of going to Behemoth, where we'll open with a reassemble drill, we'll drop the turret, and then we'll just go straight into wildfire and just do that damage and not make it very complicated. I sometimes I do it a little bit more complicated than it necessarily needs to be, but we'll try to just do that, just a basic kind of Machinist burst on Behemoth. But of course, the thing that is always important, Behemoth, 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 Behemoth. We have to get to Behemoth. So we'll talk about the floor coming up. One last thing I'll impart you guys with is that if it's your first time going through these floors, you may want to consider the idea of a double dip on Behemoth where you try to get 2 attempts on Behemoth. Behemoth will typically take between 7 to 9 minutes, so walking into 180 with about 20 minutes, look, you may sacrifice a couple things. You got to think about what are the palms that are going to speed me up. You got rages, you got flights. You may have to sacrifice that to get to the boss that quick. But getting to the boss with 20 minutes with that extra time to maybe do 2 attempts might be the key to victory, especially if it's your first time to Behemoth. So something to keep in mind. We're not going to demonstrate that on this run because we'll do it more of like, this is how we go for a clear. It may sacrifice more palms to make it happen. You know, you're kind of looking at a double dip Behemoth as something like a losing the battle to win the war kind of idea, but something that you really want to take into consideration if you're progging this for the very first time. hopefully you just get it through for the first time and you don't have to freaking worry about it, right? So, let's do it. We're gonna open with a raising, no matter what. I am opening with a raising starting at 171. A little important tip about this is that this is the last set of floors that you can get a raising on. You cannot get a raising 181 to 200. It's impossible. They don't exist. However, 171 does typically have a little bit of a higher chance of a raising up in here. So you could more than likely run into another one in here. You may not, but it's a higher chance to do so. Oh, thanks game. Proving my point right out of the gate. Polar Bear, it is a sight aggro. It will do a swipe and single attacks. That's all it does. Very good pull to do right here. You want to go with this one. The Bandersnatches up there are sights, but they are the ones that are very similar to a Wyver, to a Triceratops. So if we were kind of giving this kind of scaling enemy of like, okay, you had the Crocs, and then the evolution to that is a Wyver, evolution to that is a Triceratops, the Bandersnatch is an evolution to the Triceratops. They're going to hit you just a little bit harder, and a little bit more dangerous. We're gonna... Oh, I don't have Sprint though. So let's actually skip those for now. Let's go with the Snowclop. Snowclops is a little bit easy to fight, but it does have untelegraphed AoEs. Its first untelegraphed AoE is Glower, which is going to be directly in front of it. It can potentially one-shot you, it also gives you a Paralyze. Best not to get hit for this. Followed by an AoE Point Blank. Very good fight to go on Machinist because of the fact that it goes, because of the fact that it does a lot of stop and go, so you're going to mitigate a lot of damage here trying to fight this thing. Now that we waited for a Sprint to come in, we're now going to pull a Bandersnatch, and I'm actually going to pull this one in particular because it's kind of blocking me in this way. I open with the Sprint, we do the pull, the opening Sprint, and then after the Sprint goes, we do our leg raise to kind of continue the damage going through. Now, I had been opening with a Strength on each of the sets, especially when I had 3. I will use the Strength. I kind of forgot because I was going into, like, some explanation. We're going to do the leg raise here. So you can see the damage that we're going. We are also mitigating our usage of that Sustaining Potion since we only have 137. But you can see the amount of damage that I'm taking with Steel on. So with the Sustaining Potion, it'll feel a little bit smoother. Here, I will pull the Polar Bear and we'll pop a Strength here. At what point would I start pushing Affluence to recoup if I, raising if you hadn't gotten picked up? You know, honestly, I would probably start going by like 177. Like, let's say you had 3 Aria, and you're like really desperate to get that raising, I would burn it by 177 and Affluence all the way up. If anything, you can use one here, because you can push it to 2 so you don't overcap. That's one thing you can consider too. Like, if you really want that raising, use an Affluence here, get it to 2, and then once you get to like 78, 79, consider the next one there, and I would be willing to empty out an Affluence if I want to prog with that raising on. Like, it's definitely worth the effort to do so. Dhalmel, one of the easier enemies to deal with. It is proximity, and it does an opening Coeurl here. Eventually, it'll do Whistle. Whistle will be a damage boost on it. But the damage boost is like, it's not that much to talk about. It's not too threatening. And also after the damage boost, it tries to go with the Coeurl directly after. So you have a lot of time to kill it in this case, and we got another one right here. It's showing the example of it. But of course, you know, you'll have one person who's like, bro, I never saw a raising ever. And it's like, yeah, I know, it happens. We're gonna focus the Bandersnatch here instead of the Dhalmel. The Dhalmel I can kite no problem. Actually, you'll end up seeing the full rotation of Dhalmel. I'm gonna do a leg raise on this one just so I can keep the Bandersnatch at bay. Again, we're not running the Sustaining Potion on purpose. On 2 seconds, I'm gonna go in. There's the Whistle. You can see it from afar. He does a buff there. When he comes at me, he's going to be doing an opening Coeurl. And now I have some time to get away from it. He will probably get a hit on me, probably. But it's not going to be too significant. We're not talking like 8 levels of damage because of that boost. So it's a decent amount. Alright. As you see, not that much. I mean, I do have Steel on, but even without Steel, it's nothing too much to be worried about. And then Affluence. Wow. I'm going to bypass the Cyclops, and we're going to go to the exit room. This is a... don't remember. Intuition. Oh, I don't think I checked it, actually. Checking the next room. Dhalmel, not blocking me. The Bandersnatch, though, is looking to block me, so I'm gonna check the chest first. Maybe get a lucky chance if the Bandersnatch will just move. If not, I'll just pull the Bandersnatch. I do have to get a kill in. Perfect strength. I'm gonna fight. Okay, because I have the seal on, I can be a little bit loose on my strategy with trying to kill this. I will still do the leg raise to kind of get a little bit of distance away from it, although I timed it a little bit poorly. And I will repeat this a lot, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I am mitigating my potion usage here, because we are low on potions. We started with a lower count, so I will try my best to not use them, but I do have them on the hotbar, and we will use them as needed. So it definitely will give a little bit of an example if you're going to be a little bit more cautious. I definitely recommend popping these potions, like, every pull. Like, you pull something, pop a potion. Pull something, pop a potion. Definitely a good habit to have. But we're showcasing how you could be a little bit more conservative with it. And in this case, I'm actually going to pop it because we are not off the floor. And we got a little bit of the nice yellow key, 50 Shades of Orange key. Because we need a couple kills out of here. Must have been the raising that I got, that's why I was angry. The correct term is piss key. I believe that is what Yoshi P refers to in the game files. It says that. No debuff. All right. Dhalmel, blocking a chest, but that's silver. Don't care. Bandersnatch, because he's blocking that chest, I'm gonna pull him right away. We should start seeing wolves. Maybe not on this floor, but certainly on the very next floor. We'll worry about that when we pull them. Okay, checking the chest and moving on. Fortune came back. Okay, cool. It's the fortune. No, I used the fortune on the Corrigans on the previous set. That's right. One habit I definitely will try to encourage you not to do is as you're pulling something, don't open a chest while in combat. It's a bad habit that I do, but especially someone that's trying to go for your first time, trying to understand the content, I don't recommend putting you in that spot of like trying to deal with two things at once. I mean, eventually maybe you get used to it, you can go for it, but just be patient, check it after. Another raising. Okay, so the spiel I said about raising is showing proof right here. Probably gonna take the Dhalmel with me here, maybe, and check the chest. Steal again. Yep, that's perfectly fine. Okay, we got a Cyclops incoming at some point. I may want to kill the Dhalmel, because again, the Dhalmel is proximity. It's essentially blocking me from the right side of the room right now. Whereas the sight enemies are a lot easier to get through. Gonna pull. My steel is now down. I'm gonna re-up the steel right now. I also didn't realize that there's another room behind me, but that's okay. You don't need to go there? Question mark? Well, there's a chest there. Oh, I'll think about it. We'll deal with this first. Well, we're on a timer. We definitely don't... We should not have time for patience, but... I may skip that chest because I am rolling a strength steel right now. So we're just probably going to go through and not backtrack. See, in this case, I'm getting closer to the exit, so I actually avoided that chest that I did see. Perfect strength coming in. So now we're making some very solid time. And kind of with my palm situation, because we've been so conservative with palms already, I don't need that chest. I mean, what can I get? I mean, I am missing a flight, which would be really nice. But so far, we're making really good time here, so we're just going to proceed. Clear up the exit and move on. Again, a pretty good pull here. Even without strength, this would be a really nice pull. Just have to kite less because I have the steel on. Bandersnatch is in like a really awkward position, because if I go for that chest again, I am going to aggro the Bandersnatch. Okay, I'm gonna pop and pull the Bandersnatch. Believe in the kiting, believe in the kiting. Okay. I will pop the Shank now, and then do the pull, because this will give me some time for my HP to come back a little bit. Shank coming in, and let's pull. Or I can just use the exit. I mean, it probably opens on this pull. If not, then I have another polar bear that I can fight. Gonna kind of cheat into this exit now. Oh, kills have been a little bit high, but that's okay. It's the nature of the beast. Just keep pulling, keep moving. We got the Shank and Seal rolling. We're in a comfy zone right now. Should be seeing wolves coming into the next floor, which are definitely do not pulls. But of course, we'll pull it so we can show you what it does. Or rather, how you can handle it. I don't think I'm going to show you what it actually does, because it's going to like end up killing me. But we'll show you how to handle those wolves. There's a nasty bite. Utchered. Alright, there's our first wolf. These wolves are nasty because they do a bite that gives you a DOT, but it also heals themselves. So it's just a double whammy of just bad juju. Because it's a fight that's going to really tear you apart because it's healing and it's going to take longer. And then not to mention that AoE that it does with the Frostbite. This donut room, by the way, another instance of a donut room. The best kiting method that we can do here, because they have a hard time keeping up with us in the donut room. And, you know, this is a... I promise you, this is a very threatening enemy. Okay, let me just let it hit me. So you see, Sanguine Bite does a Frostbite plus heal. And the Frostbite is not great. It's ticking at 600. Our sustaining potion goes at 1k. And that's and it tries to keep uptime with that buff. So definitely something that you would prefer not to fight if you didn't have to. It is a sight aggro, so you can avoid it pretty easily, but you would really prefer not to. But if you had to, if you know, if like it's in your way, it's on top of an exit, doing the kiting, the method that Machinist has with their kiting, it's very potent. You can basically keep away from that fight, keep away from getting hit the entire fight, so... Especially with Strength and Steel on. Dead Cyclops, we're pulling another one. Getting rid of the patrols here, using the donut room. Anytime you see a donut room, I highly suggest you guys take advantage of it, because it is such a good kiting tool. If you get to have the luxury of having a donut room against an Anzu, you'll see how easily we'll handle an Anzu. But that's only if we get the donut room. Okay. There's a chest here, that's the exit, so I'm gonna have to clear out these Dhalmel, because the exit's over there. We're working towards the exit. Now we have an extra kill though, but again, not so bad, because it's contributing to the exit. This would only have been bad if I had already opened the exit. In the meantime, I'm gonna drag this thing with me and see what's happening in the other rooms. We have a chest over there, which I may check. Having a little bit of a hard time catching up to me, that's perfectly fine. We have a bronze chest that I do want to check because I am looking for potsherds on this climb, since we have limited potsherds right now. Just as a repeat here, I had started this file that we're working on with 59 armor, and I had started with only 20 potions in my inventory. I took everything and put them in my saddlebag, and I wanted to see and work with a starting kit of 20. Why 20? Because 20 will assume that you at least have cleared floor 1 to 50 at least one time to unlock the higher floors going for Necromancer, which means you got the guaranteed potsherd from Edda at floor 50. And, you know, maybe you use that potsherd somewhere else, it's fair, but let's just assume you had an opening 20. But it was still a very low number to start with, and that's where that number came from. And we've managed to keep our potsherds and our potions, you know, even though it doesn't look as many as a typical run that I have, it's still respectable. And we are playing in favor of having a lower count. And as mentioned before, if I had more sustaining potions, I would be chugging them every pull, because I'd be comfortable with the amount that I had. But in kind of a little bit of a respect to that, we're also showcasing what you're capable of by being a little bit more conservative with those potions. The whole idea is kind of giving a little bit more of that, like a little bit more of an entryway into trying to do this challenge, whether it is for your actual clear, whether it's for prog, so on and so forth. Because I feel like maybe it may get intimidating when you see some videos and they're already capped armor, they have 1,000,000 potions, and you're like, okay, how do I get there? So we're kind of showcasing that you don't necessarily need to have all that out of the gate. As you do your runs, you will actually accumulate some of those armor and those potions as you're progging. I will ignore that chest right now because it is blocked by a wolf, and I'm just gonna leave for time. I may get the Dhalmel, but we're okay. So there's another instance of me skipping a chest, but the reason was what I explained. Debuffs have been kind of kind to me. Alteration, I will use the alteration because I'm okay with mimics. First instance of a lion coming up here. Lions are basically the same thing that they did before. Definitely would say that they're not too annoying at all. I'm gonna pull one before we rage. Okay, let's pull this before we rage because I have the steel down right now, so you kind of see what kind of damage it does. Now, it's a not bad fight because it's going to open with its double attack, but it'll then do cry directly after. So it kind of gives you time to kind of dish out damage here. Definitely not as threatening as its Heaven on High version at all here. So it's a pretty good pull. And again, we're showcasing it without a steel first. I will rage, but I want to pull these new enemies without that steel. I'm going to pull a Wisent coming up next. Wisent is a patrol. It is sight aggro. If I did mention the lion is sight aggro. Now the thing with this, it's just like the Wisent in other versions. Basically, it's only going to do auto attacks for 30 seconds. On the 30-second mark, it's going to do a pull-in, and you can do two things to mitigate that damage. One, you can hit an arm's length at precisely the right time, where in 30 seconds it will kick in its enrage, its horrendous blast, and then you kind of block the attack. So I'm gonna see if I time it. I didn't see what my pull was, but I'm gonna hold for a second. There it is. It's okay. Secondary strat that we do is we can do an interrupt to stop that horrendous blast. So how you would look at the pull, by the way, let me see if I can pull the other one before we do the rage here. Because I know that there was a second one that was floating around. Ah, perfect. Okay, come back here, come back here, come back here, come back here. Come back here. Okay, look at the timer, the in-game timer for when I do this pull. It is 42:11, 42:11. So 30 seconds from now is, math, 41. So at around 43, 44, we're gonna hit our arm's length, and you'll see the timing will be pretty spot on to avoid that knockback. I'm gonna intentionally not do damage here, and it'll be the second way of getting through this. So 45, 40, 44, 45 is where we're looking at for this thing. Ready? Arm's length right now. And at 41, it should use it. There you go. Right on time. 30 seconds is when it uses that. So I use the in-game timer to look at that. And it's really, really useful. If maybe you had a cooldown that you had that used that can tick down to 30 seconds, you can do that. But that's two ways to get away from that thing. Now, it would be a little bit more ideal to do potentially the arm's length over the pull-in and then just do the interrupt, only because when it pulls you in, it could still sneak in a hit on you, even though it's mid-casting. So it could be just a little bit more dangerous, but if your HP is fine, then you don't have to worry about it. Here, we're going to clean up the rest of this with a Rage. I did do a Fortune here, but I may not go any longer than the two chests that I have. Actually, I might check that bronze chest. We'll go to the bronze chest, because I could still use a potsherd. A little tidbit to know here. If I'm in transformation, if I hit this gold chest, it'll say, unable to execute that command while transformed. Cannot open gold chests or silver chests in transformation. However, you can open a bronze chest because it is an item that goes in your inventory. It is not a feature of the content where it goes into its own unique UI. So I can totally open this chest no problem while transformed. Watch, we're gonna open it. There you go. It is only bronze chest that can do it as transformed, so it's a nice little bit to have there. Moving along, landmine trap. Checking the 2 chests, and oh, I gotta get the rage, but I'm checking the chest as well. Except lower floors if they're mimics. That's right. And if you actually hit a bronze chest on the lower floors, for if you're transformed for some reason, maybe you're a frog or something, it indicates that it is actually a mimic. So it's a little bit of a nice thing to see there. Oh, it was another rage. Oh, okay, that's fine. Next floor is altered. We're actually moving at a decent pace. 39 into the 5th floor. Not too bad. This sounds like a blind and something else. 2 debuffs on this floor. Oh, make it 3 debuffs. This is a Serenity. If you're kind of worried, if you're kind of like wondering what's a Serenity for, this is a hands down Serenity for me. Okay, first instance of an ape here, and this is actually good because I don't have strength and steel on. We're going to open with our sprint, actually reassemble, open sprint, and pop in with the thing. These apes are very dangerous, but with our kiting, we should be a-okay. And again, I'm going to be very conservative with my sustaining potion here. Now, the thing that's... Okay, so the apes are bad because they do the double attacks. Again, if we were using the evolution of the wyvers and the triceratops into the Bandersnatches... Oh, I should have healed myself. I didn't heal myself. It's okay. That showcases that. Good thing I got 20 million raising. We'll do it again. I will pull a polar bear in the meantime. Perfect example there. I was actually like really hoping that kiting was going to be good enough. I decided not to heal at all. But it's perfectly fine. It's a good demonstration there. We're going to pull this we're going to pull this polar bear first. And that's one reason why the ape is a little bit terrifying. The other reason why it's also annoying is because it is proximity. So a lot of times you do have to handle those apes because it's just blocking your path. In this case, you know, if you want to get used to that, I mean, look, I was running that without sustaining potion, and now actually I can show you a different case. Also, the problem with the apes is this. When it does ripe banana, it will do ripe banana, it'll boost its damage up, which will be about a 10-second bonus, and it'll do its chest thumps. And the range is very far. It gives you a damage down vulnerability up to 8 stacks. So it does cause a lot of issues if you just kind of leave them alive. So the priority is to just kill them. You want to definitely get them out of the way, etc. We got Corgans, which is great. We do have to pull this thing. I'm gonna pull it one more time without the steel again, just to demonstrate it. But we will pop a potion, kind of to showcase the difference there, having that healing running. At least that's a good example of that. Once I get the first hit, I will pop that first potion. So you can see like half my HP already. Sprint is about to drop, so that means I'm gonna pop the leg race here. Perfect. So we have more mitigation. And that's how you usually handle an ape, if I don't get stuck in a wall. Okay, so that's your ape handled right there. Mismanaged on the first one, but I was being a little too conservative with my heals there. But at least that shows you what can happen when you do that. Gonna pop the steel, make this a little bit more comfy. Let's make it over to the Corgans after. Now here we put ourselves in a nice situation, because someone was asking earlier, you know, when do you plan to use those affluences if you need to get those raisings? And now I might use one right now because I want to try to push that raising, otherwise I might expend a couple more. Here we cause a little bit of an issue here. So I'm gonna witching this because, you know why? Think about it first. Why do we do the witching? The reason here is because I did not have Kiting Room. Now, granted, I would have done the witching anyway because it was 2 nasty enemies, a Mimic and a Wolf. But that Lion blocked me from kiting. I was not able to leave this room, and if I don't have kiting, then I'm going to be in trouble. So we did the witching here so that I could handle at least one of these things. I would rather kill the wolf first, then the mimic, because the mimic is a lot more manageable. Where the wolf will be nasty if I'm not getting distance away from it. Mimic coming in here next. More than 50% of the auto, yep. That's why you gotta keep that kiting. Full spin, full damage. Usually you will kill it within 30 seconds, which is really nice. Especially if you had strength on, you kill it even faster than that. Moving along the floors, no problem here. Again, all of my movement through these rooms are not like I'm lucky or I'm hoping. No, I'm very deliberate on that movement. I know that I'm not gonna have a problem when I do that movement, assuming I'm hugging the wall. That's how confident I am with that one. There's a polar bear in the wall. Good to know. Sometimes they do that, so you want to be a little bit careful with that. Man, that would be great to get it on this video if you can see that. Gonna take out the Corgans here. Wisent coming in, which I will pass on. And I'll check this one real fast. Intuition, don't need it. Gonna see where the Wisent goes first. So it can go left or right. Really hoping it goes to its right. Oh, crap. Okay, in this case, I'll just pull it. Pull on 10. 34-10 is the pull. So we can use the arm strength, assuming I don't kill it in time. But I usually kill it in time, especially on Machinist. I was holding damage earlier to demonstrate the whole arm strength pulling kind of thing. Over here, it looks like I have to pull the lion minimum, because it's kind of facing into the exit right now. So I'm gonna pull the lion, no hesitation here, just to open up this thing. Gonna potion here just because I'm a little low. Okay, I can sneak into the exit right now if I go there right now. I'm gonna pop an affluence, hoping that I can get some of those raisings back. Which would be really nasty though, and a really big irony if I actually don't see a raising anymore moving forward, but it is what it is. HP down. Pulling the ape right now. We have our first case of Anzu, but I will try to get into a little bit of a more ideal situation to deal with an Anzu, because we do want to have a little bit more of a better condition for Anzus. They are definitely enemies that you would prefer not to fight. In any situation, you would prefer just not to fight them. But luckily, unlike the apes, they are sight aggro, so they're a little bit easier to navigate around. Gonna pop this ape here. And taking advantage of my steal. I don't know if I can sneak through that room. Both of the... Dude, 3 Anzus in one room is kind of mean, not gonna lie. Now, I would really want to pull an Anzu in this situation for the tutorial without steal on. Because I can show you how to fight it without steal, but really you just would rather fight anything else. So we're gonna kind of wait for my steal to drop and then try to pull at least one Anzu without the steal going on. Which I am confident on doing, but again, I don't recommend it. We're handling all the apes. I'm pulling this one in particular because it is blocking my path to a chest, which is one I would like to check right now. Actually, yeah, that's the only one blocking me over there. Now, as a showcase of the ripe banana, it used ripe banana. 15-second buff, and as the buff is going off, it is doing the chest pumps, and that's what I'm getting, the vulnerability down. Every so often with its GCD, it'll use it, and once that attack bonus goes off, then we're okay. The attack bonus is pretty severe. You're talking like maybe like a 50% plus attack bonus, so you do not want to pull that thing when it is in the middle of Ripe Banana. You want to make sure that it doesn't use it, or that it just used it and then pull it, but you do not want to do when it has that buff on. Additionally, you can cancel the cast. So if it's mid-casting, and then you hit him mid-cast, it will cancel the cast. So you can't stop it from going in, but honestly, it's just better for you just to wait for it to finish. Play it safe and wait for it to finish. Alright, apes are gonna be next on my next pool here, while I still have that steel on. Ow. Pull. I have a sustaining potion running. Gonna open with a leg graze to kind of keep the mitigation going there. Keep running into these apes, man. Okay. And you also dropped the chest, so I'm gonna check that right now. Steel? Yeah, I'll pop it. I still have 3 more floors to handle an Anzu without steel. That's okay. I am not opening with that sprint opener just because I do have that steel open, but you can totally handle them without it. We demonstrated earlier, but I am definitely taking advantage of the steals the game is giving me for sure. Okay, first instance of a cat here. Gonna actually remove the steel on purpose here, so we'll fight the cat without steel. Here, it'll open with Blaster. Mega Blaster, which can do a Paralyze if you get hit with it. After this, it'll do a unavoidable Paralyze, which will be 30 seconds, and it's pretty brutal in terms of that, but that's all it really does. Now, interesting here, note to have with this fight, hold on, we gotta heal. Gotta really heal. Gotta really heal. Okay, and interesting with this fight, in general, is that it will only do Mega Blaster once again, only when your Paralyze drops down. So you do not actually have to worry about it ever really doing a Coeurl, especially with the Paralyze kind of stopping you every single time. It'll only pop it once that Paralyze is gone. So watch, it'll pop it right now-ish. Yeah, that's where it pops it. So I used to believe that it was on this rotation for this Coeurl, so I was always worried that I would get stuck in a really bad paralyzation, and then I couldn't, like, avoid the Coeurl or something like that. But he does it as, like, if no paralyzed, let's use the Mega Blaster kind of thing. So the only thing so far that we haven't fought yet is the Bird of Paradise and the Anzu. So we'll definitely get a couple pulls at those before we kind of head out. Okay. Getting to this chest, seeing what it is. It is a strength, that's very good. Okay. Okay, let's proceed. We have a flight going to the next floor, which will help us speed up. Time is, like, not bad. Flight into 77 is pretty good. Arms are still hanging tight. Actually, I'm gonna couple this with an affluence, because I'm still looking for that other raising that I had burned. This is good, though. We don't want to have a very smooth run. Like someone mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I hope you have decent RNG, and that's precisely what I want. I want decent RNG. I don't want really good RNG, because that doesn't really showcase anything. Intuition, alright. I'm gonna wait for this Anzu to move, because I'm going to try to get the ape behind it. Now, there is a chest over here that's also kind of in my way. So I'm gonna wait a little bit for these guys to move. Intuition, I'll just use it now just so I can not forget where it is right now. But I do want to get to both of these chests. They're just not moving, that's the thing. They're guarding it very well. Anzu moved on that situation. I'm willing to take this with me and a Mimic if it is a Mimic. It is not. Fine with me. Yeah, I'm in complete agreement so that subpar RNG is exactly what we want to see. I mean, if I walk in with like 20 rages, it doesn't do anyone any good. But also, I do want to keep it as organic as possible. That's what's important to me, is that you do it as true to form, without any weird manipulation on the run. We are getting a lot of steel, though. Okay, first run of the Bird of Deep Palace. Now, this is a bird that you want to pay attention to. Without steel, it can really hurt. It'll do a double attack with the Philo Plume here. That's a crit with steel on. It'll also follow up with that move, Revelation. If you get hit with Revelation, it is a 30-second Hysteria. You're basically dead, because you can't move for 30 seconds and it'll just kind of wombo combo you. Next, it's going to follow up with Tropical Wind. You actually want Tropical Wind to go off, because basically what will happen is that its recast of Revelation will be a lot faster, and it'll just spam Revelation. Now, if you get close to it, it will kind of melee you pretty hard, but as a ranged player, you're probably not going to have to worry about that too much. So let Tropical Wind go off, and then proceed just to kill it off. Although we were going to kill it like way faster anyway. Oh yeah, that's a steal, I already checked that. So after this lion, actually what I would like to do is I would like to pull that ape over there, and then pull the, what do you call it? Okay, and then pull the steel out. Because it looks like I can get through on the left side if I were to fight the ape. Pulling it right now. Gonna give it a little heavy there. Gonna observe this Anzu. So this is where, like, you know, strategy involves with, like, navigation. Because the Anzu will take a little bit longer to move sometimes, because it's a bigger enemy. Sometimes the bigger enemies do take a little bit longer. I want to keep watching it to see when its last movement was, or where it's facing at the moment, so I can kind of register that. Because if it takes another long time to move, then I would just be waiting forever, or I just kind of risk it and run behind it. So in this instance, I have observed where it was, and it just moved. So I'm going to pick up this steel here. Okay. And it just moved now, so I did see that because I actually saw that movement. So I can sneak behind it right now because it's not going to move within maybe the next 10 or 15 seconds. So no problem here. I'm going to sneak that chest as well and get close to the exit. It is sight, as proven right there. Check these chests to see if any of them are mimics so I can then get off the floor. Another strength, I'll just use that right now. Checking this chest here. And then checking those chests, maybe over there. Wow, I'm getting a lot of strengths and seals. I'm gonna pull this lion right now, while my reassemble Jill is available. 2 chests I can check too, so I'm gonna observe this Anzu right now to see when it moves, if it moves. You'd assume that it will move by the time I kill this lion, but again, sometimes the bigger enemies just prefer not to just do anything, and just kind of sit there and look at the wall all the time. Okay. I'm gonna check this one, but not the other one. Oh, it just moved! Its sensor went off. Okay, I'm gonna get the strength. Risky. Don't recommend it, but there you go. I would have dealt with it though. I have to pull an Anzu. It's the only thing I haven't pulled, and we will pull one, I promise. I'm honestly waiting for my steel to go off for us to pull an Anzu. That's 100% what we're trying to do. So I might have to wait till 179. Nasty floor, but I do have strength and steel on, and we have potions, and I see a treasure room because I just saw a lot of purple just light up. So let's handle this one first. I think one thing to note, by the way, I mean, yeah, we do have really, like, pretty good RNG here, but you do want to kind of take into... Oh, shoot, hold on. Hold on. Hold that thought. This is probably going to be a witching. If the bird comes in this direction, then I'm probably witching. Which it did not. Oh, I can sneak out. Okay, good. Okay, what was I saying? So, sometimes, like, the RNG of the chests, it might look like I get good RNG, but you do have to run a comparison sometimes. Like, are you getting to all the chests as much as I am, right? Because sometimes that could be a thing. I've seen many people kind of skip away from chests, skip rooms, and we are getting the benefit of kind of spending the time on getting some of these chests. So that could also be lending into it too. Something to take into consideration. Of course, we got burned by the Mimic here, but that's perfectly fine. Okay, popping the potion here, keeping the damage moving here. Again, letting that tropical wind go on purpose. That is indeed a treasure room over there. Okay, I don't think I'm getting through anything over there, so we're just gonna be focused in here. That's a gold. You're gonna turn around. So one thing to note about the apes doing their chest pumps, every time they do it, they move. It's almost like they accelerate that movement. So it's worth noting that, because if he basically were to turn around like he just did, I can just assume that, you know, he's not gonna turn around again, especially after his ripe banana finished off, you know. Taking the Paralyze here. And then we will definitely pull the next Coeurl after, because I am going to be on diminishing return. Oh, I just realized I had 9 potsherds. I'm like, I'd be a little conservative with my potions. No, I have 9 potsherds. We're kind of okay there. Alright, I can be a little bit more aggressive with potsherds here. Good thing I took a look. Okay, this is a wait, what is this chest? No, that's a silver. Okay. Gonna pop this cat over here. Again, we are on diminishing return, so it's ideal that I'm fighting this right now. I didn't get I was gonna try to time it so I can do the silver chest. I'm gonna wait for the Paralyze to go off here. Potion, chest. There we go, got the kill. But I still need to get another kill here. So it probably ends up becoming an ape. I'm gonna wait for oh, actually, no. No. This is what's good about the treasure room. The treasure room gives you a lot of options. So let's see if there's something I can pull from the treasure room. I may not work the treasure room, but we can still get something out of here. The cat's what I'm looking for if I can pull the go. If I can pull the cat out. Otherwise, I'll pull the lion instead. We'll pull the lion instead. Yeah, that's one big benefit of the treasure room. If it's not on top of your exit, it's the fact that you have a lot more options to pick, right? There should theoretically be a higher percentage of different enemies to be found there. Take care of this lion, going to 79. Time's still okay here. I don't have to use anything for the time, although this bird right now is a little spicy. Sure. Okay, we're behind its conal, so we're okay. Okay. No debuff. Good. So that means I can demonstrate an Anzu after we get off. Good. Okay, cat first. Checking the room. So I'm getting that angle with the camera. You see what I did with the camera there? It's kind of a free way to see what's going on with the room. So definitely take advantage of that. I don't have to step into the room. I'm just kind of looking in, right? So a couple Anzus over there. We got the bird coming in over here. And I'm going to try to see if I can sneak around the other way, but it depends on where this bird goes. If I can find another cat, that's ideal, so I can keep the diminishing return. There's a cat over there, but I can't get it. Also hearing. Do you hear that? I hear an ape towards, like, it was originally my left ear, now it's on my right ear. I know that there's an ape on the right side of this room, or in this case it's the south side. So it also tells you that. That's actually really important too. Those kind of auditorial cues, etc. If you can hear it, of course. But you can also visually see it a little bit. You see like a little bit of the animation of the chest pumps going off because of that AoE. So that also tells you, like, you know, maybe what room is over there, how many rooms are over there, so on and so forth. Intel's important. Strength into the boss is very good. Sneaking in over here, pull... actually, the better pull was going to be the Ape. I'm sneaking around here again. Oh, I got the bird. I'm actually gonna witching this, because I have 2. That's the only reason. Actually, it should have been the Anzu first, but it's fine, I guess. Are they both imps? Wait, they're both imps, so they're hitting me pretty hard. No steel bird at the moment. With minimal burst though, that's the only downside. Okay. Good. The light, don't need that. Gonna check this room. Now, an Anzu is possible. Hold on. An Anzu is possible if I have my full burst on, so... Gonna pop the bird over here. I'm going to explain that, by the way. What I just did there. But let me kill this bird first. So, referencing Mr. Darabon, Delicious Darabon's trap video, which does exist, and we'll definitely have it in descriptions and whatever. Delicious Darabon had done a video explaining every single location of traps that are on this set, on 151 plus to 200. And one of the spicy rooms is what he calls danger, because it's the one room that along the wall potentially has a trap. And the way I recognize danger is I look up for the blocks on the sky, and you kind of see the blocks on the left here over on the left side of the wall. So usually danger means that there can be a trap on this wall right over here. So if you hug that wall to the left, you could potentially get a trap, which is just very nasty. And you know, we say hug the walls, you know, so on and so forth. But like, it works for like 98% of the time, 95% of the time. That's the other percentage that will trigger it. So that's why I ran down the middle, because from what I've known from that information from Darabon, is that the safe spot is actually down the middle. For like also 90% of the time. Like there's a potential trap that can be down the middle, but it's very rare from what he's seen. So that's why I literally ran down the middle as opposed to the side wall, which you would assume was the path I was going to take because of where the Anzu was facing, but I didn't on purpose because I knew that you could possibly get that trap over there. Okay, so let me see what our pulls are. I think it's time for me to pull an Anzu, but I was actually going to wait for a burst, and I burned my burst on a thing. Actually, I want to get to the cat first. Our time is getting down there, but we're gonna be okay on time. I can speed up if I need to, but you're in a bad spot. You just moved. Okay, so let's do the cat first, and I'm gonna hold my burst here. On purpose, we will hold our burst. So what I want to demonstrate to you guys is an Anzu full pull, but the only reason why you'd ever really fight one is because you'd have a burst ready. That's the only reason I would suggest fighting one. Because of that. Are you okay? Where's your paralyzed? Oh, I was gonna say, I'm like, where the hell is your paralyzed, dude? This paralyze is brutal. Okay, so I'm gonna wait for the paralyze to go off. We're gonna pop the strength here. I'm gonna wait actually 18 seconds for my burst to come out clear. With Machinist, is it possible to clear 170-200 without using landmines? 100%. I don't use landmines in Machinist. I use silver chest explosions, but I don't use landmines. It's actually very risky to use landmine, in my opinion. An open strength here. Okay, so I might die here, but it's okay because we were doing it for science, to show you guys something. pop him. Boom. Gonna open with, this is a strength steel Anzu here. I'm sorry, this is a strength only, no steel Anzu. Just to show you it's possible, but I'm gonna tell you, dude, I don't recommend it, man. Don't go and do that on your runs if you can help it. But hey, if push comes to shove and you gotta do it, you gotta do it. There's an ape blocking this exit, like straight up just blocking the exit. I'm gonna check this chest first. Alteration. Gonna kill the ape now. I have my my leg graze available. I don't have any other heals though, so I have to be a little bit careful. Ow. Well, so much for being careful, but it's okay. We'll be fine, I think. Question mark. I have sprints. Gonna open sprint here. Got all the HP back from all that running, so that's okay. Okay, let's go to the boss floor. It's time for Behemoth. We have just enough time for one attempt. Let's do it. So we did a little bit extra, that's why time is a little bit, you know, sus here. But that's perfectly fine. Here we're gonna run this boss, no explanation first, I'm just gonna showcase to you how it goes, and then I'll explain everything of what we're doing. This boss is going to be the thing that will probably hold a lot of people back. Probably something that will be terrifying to people, you know, I mean, we kind of talk it up as like, this is the boss, you know, this is the thing that makes or breaks a run. Completely fair, but hopefully I'll be able to explain as much as I can of this fight, and maybe we can make it a little less scary. Again, we're gonna go through the full rotation first before I really go over everything. I kind of just want to show you guys how I do the thing before I kind of talk about it. And we'll have a couple of rotations to go over it anyway. Once this last trounce goes, it is like I just pulled. Okay, so let's talk about the fight now. This fight is a set rotation. A couple things that I've seen from people, they actually think that it's like a little bit random, or they're like not sure where the puddles go, where the AoEs go and everything, but it is a set rotation, so I'm going in a very particular style and a very particular motion. So you had that opening trounce into a double Charybdis here. I'm parking it along the wall. If we use the arena as a clock, you're talking about the 1 o'clock and the 3 o'clock here. We're kind of keeping the middle clear, although it's not necessary. It kind of keeps the arena nice and open, you know, instead of making kind of a little bit of a mess. After those two, you see the Thunderbolt, then it runs to the north and does trounce. I'm actually running in favor of the position in which Behemoth is going to go to. So that's why my position is such. After those trounces, you see two Charybdises coming out back to back. He's gonna then come at me, coming in with a Thunderbolt, and a little bit different than that first side of the rotation, the east side of the rotation. He's going to do a third Charybdis before he goes back to the gate for another trounce. So you'll see another Charybdis come in. So this is going around the lines like I am, almost in this kind of clockwise position, in my opinion, does keep it very clean. You don't want to go a little chaotic with like your positions, because the AoEs do expand. So one thing that you want to notice with that AoE, so take a look at it when it comes down. First we're going to get that first Thunderbolt here coming out. So that's the first Thunderbolt. One auto after, you'll see the Charybdis come in. And look at the initial size of the Charybdis. I'm going to stand right here, but I'm going to move directly after. It expands out, so it becomes bigger. What that AoE does is that it pulls you in, and then if you're in long enough, it'll give you a DOT. So it does do damage on the pull-in, and of course the AoE itself. And then we'll give you a dot, which could be really bad when you're trying to get your HP in order here. So we're playing in favor, keeping the arena safe. Comes in with this other trounce. It'll do one auto after this trounce, followed by another 2 Charybdises. And again, we're parking it along the edge of the arena to kind of keep the arena clean. You don't have to do this. This is just something that I kind of got used to. And once again, it is a set rotation. It's really funny because I think as I was doing this fight before, it would be not as obvious that it was a set rotation because it always seemed like I was like, I think some people perceived it as I was just lucky at my positioning, that it was like he was going in that position because of the way I was standing, but it's not the case. It's specifically because I'm favoring the direction that he's going. Now you could do a little bit of an alternate where you can kind of have him run across the map, which could, I guess, save you a little bit if you want to do it that way. You don't have to do it like that, but it is an alternative way of pulling it off. Where, like, instead of having him go to the south side in this rotation, I keep him north and then move in. Actually, it's kind of like a melee strat, so I can actually show it to you right here. This is what I do for melee. So I kind of park the 2 Charybdises here, and then I take the Thunderbolt here. And this is just a demonstration for just to see what the difference is. I run away from this right now, right? Boom. And then I wait for him here. And then you're gonna see him walk all the way down to the south side to get to his final trounce. So this is, again, a set rotation here. I'm going to have to re-up my strength, because looking at my strength timer, it is going to fall out. You want to kind of check if... Okay, really, really big thing to do here. There's 2 things that we're going to have to talk about here right away. At about 21%, we're going to be doing our lust. We would like to have our lust in for our burst. Number 2, if your strength is below 2 minutes, it says 1M on your buff, and you're not at the lust stage, consider doing your strength and re-upping the strength in that moment. Here, I'm going to pop the lust here. I'm just taking a moment when it's going to do a Charybdis or when it's going to do an attack. I do Tactician and a Fresh Potion. We're going for 5 hits here. Really, on this fight, you can do it at any part of this fight whatsoever. After we get to 5, we're going to push it as low as we can down to 15-ish, because it's going to do Ecliptic Meteor at 14.9%. Now, with Machinist and how it is nowadays, we don't have to be so precise about this whole thing. All we want to wait for is for it to go into an ability, and then we unleash our burst. So let's go in. We're going to wait a little bit. I'm going to actually hold 15.8. Going in right now. Opening with a reassembled drill. I'm also going to drop it here. We're going to be going with a healing strat, so we're going to heal twice after the meteor goes off. I'll explain the burst after we go off here. Okay, boom. Gonna heal. Gonna heal. Okay, now we're good on healing. Now we do our last heat blast. I'm gonna get hit with this meteor, no problem. I have my drill coming in, which I'll do after the heat blast, but it doesn't matter. And we're done. That's it. That's the fight. So, what I did on that burst kept it very simple. Well, it's simple if your nerves are there. We just did a reassembled drill, and we did a wildfire straight into wildfire heat blast. I weaved in my turret somewhere in between there, and then just did the full burst. That's it. And then just basically run that burst. Now, in between, you had to get those heals off, so you're gonna have to weave it in at some point. But it's okay. Even if you're gonna clip a little bit just to heal, don't worry about it. This fight is a lot more lenient than it used to be. I used to have a very deliberate setup. I used to go to a very specific spot to do this whole thing. I used to do lust at a very specific point and got it all there. Literally just wait for him to do an attack and then go on it and do your burst and just run a regular rotation. And that's Behemoth for you. So there you go. 180 Behemoth. Hopefully that looked a little bit better, but it's still going to be a very terrifying fight. And that's one reason why I kind of suggest maybe running into like a striking dummy to just run a basically reassemble drill, wildfire, full burst, drop your turret. That's it. That's all you have to practice. It's just that burst. Amongst anything, one thing that might be useful too is if you actually go through every boss that you fight as you're climbing up your way up to 180 to do that exact burst. Have full gauge, have full everything, and just unleash everything at the same time. Reassemble drill, wildfire, heat blast, blah 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 blah, turret, heat blast, boom, that's your burst. So that's Behemoth. And God, I hope that's going to help people, because like I said, before I had it so specific, so tight, so everything, you know, but nowadays it really isn't that crazy anymore. You don't have to be so wild about it. I think my sustaining potion dropped at some point too, but yeah, you go. That's 180. So that's 71 to 180. We didn't get that raising back, by the way, so we only had to do we only got to, you know, we only have the one bonus raising, but we got to pull everything, so we did do that. We should be good. I'm gonna hold on to my other GCDs right now. 23% now. 22%. 21%. Okay, good. So I'm gonna do a fresh potion here, a tactician and lust here. Gonna take a couple hits, but it's fine. You can honestly just lust anywhere as long as you get the tactician up. Watch out for thunder here. Getting 5 stacks on this. This will be 2. This will be 3. Charybdis coming out. Gonna move out of here. This will be 4. Ooh, I'm gonna get hit. Fine. This will be 5. Okay, fresh potion. 18%. Again, I'm gonna try to tincture right before the burst. 16%. 15.9. I could do another GCT here. Okay, now I want to wait because I want to get him to do something. So I'm actually going to wait till a Charybdis comes out here. Gonna tincture right now. Reassemble. Wait for the Charybdis. And let's go. Tincture strategy. Turret. A little late there, but it's okay. So this involves no extra healing. Okay, there you go, Tincture. Gonna be a little tighter there, just because you just dish out all the damage within that 30-second period, within the Tincture period, but generally, like, the drill was gonna, I think, come back up before that meteor drop, so that should be pretty good, so figure out which one you want to prefer there. That's a Tincture run. With the delay in the turn attacking upon use, isn't it best to drop it right away? 100%. I actually kind of like misplayed a little bit our Rhea because I actually mishit my reassemble when I didn't quite want to, and I just decided to just go. But 100%, what you would want to do actually is drop the turret first and then reassemble later, because there is a delay, like you said, there's a delay in the attack, so it would be better. But basically what I wanted to kind of get to was more like, you don't have to be so precise as I used to be. It's just basically you just get everything in, you're okay. Honestly, you could probably even skip the turret, but don't skip the turret. But yeah, you don't have to be so precise on that. If anything, you'd want to, like, the perfect rotation would be reassemble, turret, and then drill. And then that should all work out, because by the time the turret hits the target, your drill will hit the target, and then all that burst comes into play. But again, the takeaway that you want to have is you want to be doing the burst when it's doing an ability, when it's casting. Because it will not pivot out of cast to do Meteor. It has to commit to that cast before it can actually get back into... before it can actually start doing Ecliptic Meteor. So you're buying yourself 2 to 3 GCDs before it even gets to the dangerous part. So that's all you gotta really focus on. And there's so many points of that fight to do so. You have the Trounce that was there, you have the Charybdis that was there, you have the Thunderbolt that's there, so whatever ability that's over there, use that as your marker, and then boom, go straight into it. Do you get it as close? So, I don't do it anymore, Dank. I used to. I actually did that burst, I believe, at 15.8, or maybe a little bit less. I think it was like 15.6. As long as I dip it under 16, I'm okay. Now, if I have the luxury of doing some autos for it, you can. But it's not necessary with Machinist, not anymore. Just basically do a really good burst. I mean, if you saw how much time I had, I mean, I basically killed it before I even got that drill off, and it was like the second meteor had dropped. So I had so much leeway to kind of get more damage off. Yeah, so hopefully that kind of eases a little bit. I mean, that's what we're kind of going for, a little bit more of a better entry point, you know, to not feel so precise with it. What is the healing rotation? So ideally you get a fresh sustaining potion right before you start your burst, because it should carry you into the entire thing, which I did not do. It was a little bit late. Fair point. But basically what you do is that you do your entire burst, you take the first meteor, check your sustaining, make sure that the sustaining is fresh, like make sure you have a couple seconds on the sustaining going. I basically did a second wind, did a GCD, potion, did a GCD, so I didn't clip anything, right? So you want to make sure that you try not to clip with your damage. You don't want to double weave those potions if you can, but again, it's not that big of a deal because, you know, you have a lot of damage on Machinist. Does it matter if it's Trounce? No, all you gotta care about is that you get him caught in an ability. He starts an ability, and then go for it. If I remember correctly, I think all of those abilities basically have a very, very similar casting time. So it's not going to matter which one you take. They all will cast at roughly whatever pace that he does. Like, one cast is not going to be way longer than the other. Now, also worthy to know, which I didn't get to, is that some people thought, okay, so I demonstrated kind of towards the end of that fight, where like you can position Behemoth like in the north gate, and then he'll run all the way south to do the trance. So I had some people ask me, oh, could you do the burst when he's walking? And theoretically, yes, you can do that burst when he's walking. However, he will not get into Trounce. He will get straight into Meteor. So if you're gonna do that kind of burst, you do want to wait for him to actually start Trounce and then go for the burst, otherwise he'll just walk to the end and then go straight into Meteor. Now, you could argue that if you make him walk from one side of the arena from the 12 o'clock to the 6 o'clock, that's still a lot of time. I mean, that's fair. I'm not going to dispute that, you know? You can do that if you want to. But just note that he will go straight into it if you do it when he's running to his opposite side of the arena.